name is Max.
And I'm Kelvin.
And we're hosting So You Wanna Be a... So today we have Roxi Moncur here with us. So Roxi, tell us a bit about you and your job.
All right. Well, I am a preschool teacher, and I live in Orem, Utah. I've taught preschool for about 37 years.
Wow.
And so I've been doing it for a really long time. And that's what I do. What other questions do you have for me?
So what's your favorite part about your job?
My favorite part of my job is just building a relationship with the children. One fun thing about preschool is that this is usually their first educational experience. And so they're super excited about everything they do. And they love learning and they love participating and they love just being a part of what's happening.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned you're a preschool teacher. So what do you do for a normal preschool day?
Well, on a normal preschool day, I have 4 groups of children that come. Each group comes twice a week. So when the children come, the first thing they get to do is play. Because play is really important for children. It's one of the best ways they learn is by playing. And so first they play, and then we have gathering time, which is when we learn a concept and play games around a particular concept. And then we do an art project, and then we have snack, and then we have singing time and story time, and then we're about done.
Oh. So what is your technique? You said you've been doing this a long time, so what kind of things have you picked up, what to do and not to do?
Well, one thing I've learned about what not to do is that you have to keep kids kind of moving and giving them concrete things to do. You can't lecture preschoolers. You have to give them lots of things to do. They love to play games, and so they learn best by doing. So I've learned that you need to choose books that are short. You need to not talk too much. You need to be able to get them involved in what you're doing.
Yeah. What's your least favorite part of your job?
Honestly, watching kids pick their nose and eat their boogers.
Gross.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's probably the worst part.
What's the funniest thing that's ever happened?
We've been thinking about that. We talked about a lot of funny things. There are so many funny things that happen with preschoolers. One that happened pretty recently, just last year, is preschool children are really literal, which means sometimes they think about things very literally. And one day, a group of children said, "Hey, let's play knights," meaning knights with swords and that. And another little boy says, "Okay, I'll be day." So you have to think about that, right? So he was thinking about night, and they were going to play night, and he would be day. So super funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay, that was so funny.
It was so funny, but that for him, he didn't get the part about the knights in armor and that. He was just thinking about nighttime.
Okay.
So that was one funny thing that happened last year.
Okay, that is so funny. So if you could have one superpower just to help you with your job, what would it be?
We were talking about this on our way down. And the one superpower that would be super helpful is to be able to understand everything that 3-year-olds say.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't sound like a superpower, but often when children are learning to speak, they cannot speak very clearly. And so the most helpful thing for me would be being able to understand everything that children say.
Oh, so just being able to talk 3-year-old.
Yeah, and understand 3-year-old.
Because they're sometimes they're blah, 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 but they mean something else.
Yeah,
and you don't know.
And their consonants are all mixed up, and so their words, sometimes you don't know what words they're saying.
So what's your origin story of being a preschool teacher?
Well, when I was younger, I didn't think really about teaching. I wanted to actually I wanted to major in communications, like be a reporter, something like that.
Wow.
But as I got into high school, I just kind of felt like I needed to move a different direction, and that education was the direction I needed to move in. And so as I went to college, I took introductory classes in education. And as I kind of had some different experiences and different practical experiences in schools, I realized that I wanted to focus on the younger children and preschool in particular.
So, I sometimes have like teacher assistants, like people from college that come and help us. Were you ever a teacher assistant?
Yes. Usually we call those student teachers. During my education, I had several different experiences where at the beginning they let you go out for and do that for like 2 weeks. You work in a classroom or a month. And then at the end, you do your student teaching. And my major is early childhood education. And so I actually did 2 sets of student teaching. My first one I did at the BYU preschool, and I did it for about 6 weeks. You plan and you work under the direction of a more experienced teacher. And then my second experience was actually in a kindergarten class. And I also did that for about 6 weeks and worked under a direction of a teacher. And so that kind of helps prepare you to be in the classroom.
Yeah. So, what's like the worst thing that like has happened to like broken bones?
We haven't had any broken bones. I think probably the worst experiences are when kids throw up. Or a couple years ago, we had a boy who went to the restroom and used so much toilet paper, he overflowed the toilet.
Oh, man.
And so because you're working with children, who are young, they haven't been potty trained for very long. And so those kind of situations are always a little tricky. You usually have a few of them each year. And luckily, children don't throw up very often, but it does happen. And it's never very fun.
Doesn't sound very fun.
Yeah. So, what is like the coolest thing that you've experienced as being a preschool teacher?
I think some of the cool things that happen is that children, it's really fun to watch them kind of develop from the beginning of the year till the end. And it's actually really fun to have them come back years later and talk about how they can still remember the things that they have done at preschool. So that's really fulfilling, is to have them come back. And I've been doing it so long that I've actually had the children of some of the children that I've taught. So that's been really fulfilling as well.
That's crazy. Yeah. So another question. You mentioned that you teach preschool at your home, but the elementary school I attended, they had like preschool teachers at the school. So what made you want to do it at your home and not at school?
Well, primarily the reason why I chose to do it at home is because I wanted to be home for my own children.
Oh.
So I wanted to have a job where I could be at home when my kids came home from school, or I began when my children were really young. And so I wanted to be home for them. And then I like the autonomy that I have. Like, nobody is telling me what to teach or how to teach. So I like to be independent that way and choose what I teach and choose what I do. And it also gave me the freedom to do things like field trips and other hands-on experiences that would be much harder in a school setting.
Oh.
So, what is the funnest field trip you've ever been on?
Well, we don't do this one anymore because it doesn't exist, but there used to be a place that actually made candy canes.
What?
And you could go up and you could look in the windows and you could see them pouring the hot candy stuff and shaping it. And then they put it in a machine that wound it down. You got to see them add the color. And then you saw them taking out the hot candy canes and bending them into candy cane shapes and stuff. It was so fun. I was so sad when it went out of business.
Dang, that would have been so cool.
But I think the funnest one we do now is we go to an art museum, which sounds like something crazy to do with preschoolers, but it's actually at a local university. And the docents, that's like a leader person that works at the art museum, takes us to see a few pictures and does activities with the kids at the picture to help them understand the art. And then we go back to a special room and do an art project.
Oh, that's
And
so
so, yeah, it's really cool and a great program that they do through our local university.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
What is the scariest field trip you've ever been on?
Well, many, many years ago, we used to go to the mall in the summertime, and they had a safety city where local policemen would help the kids learn safety things like crossing the street, stuff like that. And it was one of the first years I did it, so I wasn't super smart. And so we would ride the bus to the mall, and then we would go in and do Safety City, and then parents would come, and we would carpool back to my house, and then people would pick them up. Well, we were waiting for parents to come, and I was sending off children with groups of children off with different parents. And one little girl kind of wandered away, and I thought she went with a parent, and she didn't. And it wasn't until we got back to my house, or on the way back to my house, that I realized that she was not there. And so her mom was not one of the parents driving that day, so I had to call her mom, tell her that we had left Kimberly at the mall.
Wow.
And so we headed off back to the mall. Her mom met me at the mall. We were both in tears, so nervous about it. But Kimberly had met up with some very friendly college student girls, and Kimberly had no idea she was lost. So she couldn't really understand why we were both in tears. But after that, we did not go back to the mall. And luckily, her mom was so nice and so understanding. But yeah, that one was definitely the scariest one we've ever done.
Wow. Okay, so last question. What's your favorite color?
Pink and blue.
Thank you for being here. These are all of the people who helped us create this show. Roxi Moncur, Max Moncur, Calvin Moncur, Jacob Moncur, and Megan Moncur. Well, that's our show, everybody. Thank you. Bye.